Hello everybody, welcome to another video. Today we actually have a first round mock draft. This is before the combine, but the combine is technically started. It's just a lot of the interviews right now. And then the morning you're seeing this, or the morning this actually comes out, it will be the day that I think the drills start on the 29th, which will, it's the 28th for me. Basically, hopefully you guys get it. But we did have a lot of fun with this one. We went off the rails a little bit, and should be a fun one to go through. The last mock draft I posted was actually a 4-round mock draft, so if you're interested, 1, go watch it, and 2, that one got a lot of interesting comments, whether it was, hating or whatever. It's obviously expected. People want their teams to do whatever. So basically, heading into this one, we're going to try to shake it up, wreak some havoc. Caleb Williams at number 1, totally outlandish. No one's ever seen this before. Obviously, I'm kidding. This seems to be the consensus. Whoever you talk to, Caleb Williams is basically the quarterback 1. Don't think there's much debate over that right now. Quarterback coming out of USC, there was some character concerns, and a lot of that's going to come up here with the interviewing process. There was worries from Ryan Poles or something within the Bears organization that was like, well, we don't know where he stands in terms of, like, does he want to be on the Bears and stuff like that. And he's come out this morning as I'm recording this the 28th. I think I saw a report on him saying he'd be, like, excited to play on the Bears. So obviously we don't know what's going to go on in those interviews, but it should be an interesting process. And I think that the Chicago Bears should do this and go through this scenario here. Trade Justin Fields away, get the top of day 2, draft compensation or something, and draft Caleb Williams, number 1 overall. Number 2 is going to be Drake Maye for us here, the North Carolina quarterback. Now, he's had a few problems and bumps on his way to the NFL draft. People are starting to poke a lot of holes in them because they are a Jayden Daniels believer, which, if you believe it or not, he's all the way down here for Trevor Sikkema of PFF, the guy that ranks and does the big board here for PFF. Not really a big fan on Jayden Daniels, and I ended up watching what he had to say about it, and it was a lot of the same things I'll have to say about it. So we'll eventually get to the Jayden Daniels pick. For now, at number 2, it was Drake Maye, the North Carolina quarterback that's coming out. He's got one hell of an arm. He's got a good sense for the middle of the field, which I feel like it doesn't lack as like rookie quarterbacks like necessarily, but I'd say Drake Maye does a good job doing that, and that's one of his like biggest strong suits. He's got the velocity to throw it to the sideline with some zip and really get it there on time. So Drake Maye, he's got the size. He's more of your prototypical guy, I would say. I just like Drake Maye's tape a whole lot better than Jayden Daniels when it comes to like a quarterback prospect. Drake Maye is much younger and probably has higher upside than Jayden Daniels, which I know kind of sounds crazy with the talent that Jayden Daniels has with his legs and the mobility there. Drake Maye is an underrated athlete as well. I think he's actually a much better athlete than people give him credit for. So once he gets into the NFL, I think there would already be a solid base that he could work with. Now he is still a little young, has his rambunctious decisions, just stuff that a young quarterback's going to deal with and have as that transition to the NFL might be a little challenging or whatever. But I still like the Drake Maye pick here over Jayden Daniels at 2. Marvin Harrison Jr. at number 3 for the New England Patriots. Now, I can see the upset fans or whatever, who's going to throw to him? Get a bridge quarterback, get Justin Fields, whatever, and then accumulate Marvin Harrison Jr. If Justin Fields doesn't work out, cool, you have Marvin Harrison Jr. for your next quarterback. Whatever the problem ends up being here, it's solved, in my opinion. And this is a trade-out spot if you want, if you're not big on Jayden Daniels, and if Jayden Daniels goes to, if you're not a big Drake Maye fan, if you're the New England Patriots, of course. That all being said, it puts it in a tough perspective here because there's a good chance that it is quarterback 1, 2, and 3. But in order to shake it up, you've got to make these bold decisions. That is, I think, a little bit more likely than people would like to think, or a lot of people are saying right now. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is an all-worldly talent. I love the tape, love the player. He's got intangibles stacked on top of one another. He's very good. He has a lot of what makes a player great. Now, obviously, you don't want to come out and have these Hall of Fame expectations on a guy, but if you're going to, Marvin Harrison Jr. is the right guy. The amount of holes you can poke in his game, I was talking about people trying to poke holes in these quarterbacks. When it comes to Marvin Harrison Jr., it's very tough to find just important cons on that pros cons list. There's a lot more pros than cons, but there's also no real major cons, if that makes any sense. Marvin Harrison Jr. is a very good player, and I think NFL teams will happily see that. He's got the, like I mentioned, intangibles. He's great off the field, and he's got the amazing size and the build to him. So Marvin Harrison Jr. to me is well worth the top 3 pick here, and I think when we get to Jaden Daniels, we'll cover kind of some of my concerns that perhaps drop him down the board, but still can see him going here at 3 pretty easily with what he brings to the table. Joe Alt for the Cardinals. Now, you're pairing Paris Johnson Jr. up, and you're solidifying your left tackle spot. Very important, probably most important spot on the offensive line, especially with Kyler Murray and his blind side and how well he kind of works out of structure at times. So Kyler Murray would have the time to spread the ball to Michael Wilson's, to whoever you pick in the future or in the top 100 of this draft. Whatever it ends up being, would you rather have Joe Alt to solidify the offensive line to help Kyler Murray, or would you rather try to get a Rome Odunze, Malik Neighbors type of weapon in that offense to help Kyler Murray in a place to throw it kind of way? So I kind of look at it like that, and in this situation, I would like Joe Alt's help on the offensive line more than I'd like Malik Neighbors or Rome Odunze on the offense as well. So in this scenario, I'm going Joe Alt. Again, it could be Malik Neighbors. It could be Rome Odunze. It could be someone that no one's even mocked here. It could be Byron Murphy, but I highly doubt that, even though he's made a impressive rankings jump here for PFF. I wouldn't have it quite that high. So Joe Alt the pick for me at 4. Sorry for kind of butchering the explanation of the pick. It just makes sense to me. Brock Bowers here for me at number 5. Makes sense. A lot of people are on that. We saw Jim Harbaugh in his time at Michigan, obviously AJ Barner and Loveland this last year, but he likes to utilize the tight ends. And who's the new offensive court? I think it's like Greg Roman or I can't remember. I think Roman's definitely the last name if I'm thinking about the right staff here. I'm a little bit all over the place here with information as I haven't really gotten a good read for it, as you guys can tell. But either way, Brock Bowers makes sense here, and I think that he'd be used. Gerald Everett's contract's up. You'd have a Justin Herbert that was desperate for somewhere to throw over the last 2 years with injuries due to Mike Williams or due to injuries with Mike Williams. Keenan Allen's been a little banged up at times recently, so he's had those holes in the offense. It's been pretty one-dimensional. It's been a lot of underneath stuff. And if you're going to stand in that pocket, stand strong, try to make your read downfield, you're probably going to take a hit. And that's where Herbert's toughness has really come out, is because how much he's having to push through some of these injuries. I would say that they're kind of like nagging ones. He was out with extended time this last year, and it's not a good thing to have a young star quarterback that has been kind of swept under a rug recently because of the lack of offense we've seen with the Chargers. And Brock Bowers can really open things up for him a little bit. Nice vertical threat and still blocks pretty well. He has looked a little bit smaller. I'm curious to see as to where he weighs in here at the combine. In terms of what he can do to an offense, I think it works really well here at 5 to the Chargers at a very valuable spot on an offense. I think a tight end you're seeing the Mark Andrews when he was really productive, Travis Kelce and what he does for an offense. Like the tight end being used a lot more in the modern day offense in so many different ways that it can really be a piece to a great offense. Like people talking about, you always need that number 1 receiver, and I don't disagree with that. I'm saying that a tight end could have close to equal meaning, if not more. He works a lot in the trenches. You have the dirty work that the tight end's responsible for, and if he's reliable in those areas, goddamn take it. I mean, Brock Bowers is great, and long-winded response here, or explanation for the pick at 5, but I think it makes a lot more sense than, if you were to go with Joe Alt here, like people are talking about right now. If you were to go with one of these other playmakers, I'm not so big on Malik Neighbors, and I'm not really big on Rome Odunze. Call me weird or whatever, but I'm just saying. Daniels stops slipping and comes off the board here at 6. And we'll start with the little bit of concerns I have with him, and watching tape got kind of frustrating. In fact, watching Brian Thomas's tape, the LSU wide receiver who's really good, I think we'll get some more hype as we get closer to the draft here. Either way, Jaden Daniels was not that great processing. Like, I thought he'd be a little bit better. He wasn't like a first like options to run sort of guy. Like, there's been the guys in the past that are really good on their legs and their feet. And so they always look to run before clicking to that third or even second read. Jaden Daniels wasn't eager to escape the pocket and start running, in my opinion. He had a very good offensive line. He had very good weapons around him, and just like wide receivers there helped him a lot. When Malik Neighbors wasn't open, you had a Brian Thomas. But watching Brian Thomas, when he was open and Malik Neighbors wasn't, Daniels wasn't clicking off of Malik Neighbors' read. It was a lot of the time, it was an extended amount of time on Malik Neighbors. I don't know, a bit into the play, you look, and then you're like, oh, okay, Brian Thomas is there. Or if he's already too far out on his route, Jaden Daniels will take off and run it. So there was some of that processing stuff, the kind of mindful things you like to see with the quarterback. I think you can call it like mental awareness or whatever. Daniels just didn't do a whole lot of that at a high level. And to, I guess, lack those qualities, it can drop you. But like I said, I can still see him going number 3. You could still see him going in these ranges. It's not, oh my God, that's bizarre, that's insane, that would never happen. What are you taught? There's a chance he falls, and I think a team would trade up. I think a team would trade up right away at 4. A team would trade up. I don't think that he slips past, but without these trades, he's going to fall to 6 here, so it's going to make it look a little worse than it is. Olu Fashanu at number 7, the offensive tackle out of Penn State. He'll be coming in as the higher upside tackle over Joe Alt, and now you can rank these guys basically. These all could be tackle ones. Toeis Faga, Joe Alt, and Fashanu. It's kind of what characteristics do you want and how far do you want to leap? If you are a run-first Atlanta Falcons offense, the next pick is, but I will not pick Toeis Faga for them. Spoiler. Okay, yeah, Toeis Faga might be up there. If you think he can be a very good player in pass pro and you want to work on him in that area, Toeis Faga could be your tackle 1 if you're on that run-heavy scheme because he's so good in the run. You could have Joe Alt, who's just very solid all the way around. If you like stability, if you like your pass pro with a nice little bit of run in there. He's actually pretty good in the run. Joe Alt, I was surprised when I was watching him first time through for multiple games. I just really liked what I saw from Joe Alt. Or you could shoot for upside and go Olu Fashanu, an incredible mover, nice tall stout, doesn't really lose leverage. He's got the good feel like inside out. Like Olu, I still think he's a great prospect. Still getting picked inside the top 10, obviously. Not at 4 where Joe Alt is. Olu Fashanu, I think the Titans would like to hit on their pick, but with Alt off the board, I'm going Fashanu here pretty easily, and you're still getting a chance at the ceiling of Olu Fashanu, which could still be very, very good. Malik Neighbors at number 8 overall to the Atlanta Falcons, and there's been a lot of like edge here. There's quarterback. I mean, JJ McCarthy's in play for people right now, and I don't really see that because in that situation, you'd probably have to start week 1. I don't think that's really fair to him. Desmond Ridder, I'm sure, could come in, and then JJ kind of rides out like the last 3 games of the season. Whatever. That's not the pick here. It's Malik Neighbors. And the reason I go here is who do they got? You want to list me off their receivers? It's Drake London, all right? And you have to kind of go down your mind. You're like, okay, I think I saw Damiere Byrd there. Van Jefferson was traded there. He hasn't panned out. Mac Hollins, who might be 30 this year, and yeah, he's a big boy, but didn't have really the big impact on an offense. And sorry to Mac Hollins, no disrespect, obviously, right? But it's not your guy. Drake London's a good job, and I think the electricity Malik Neighbors counters that well. He's a really good receiver when it comes to after the catch, when it comes to a little bit of the route running underneath. Like, I don't think he's a major mismatch, but if you get him against a slot corner. Let's put Clark Phillips here, where Clark Phillips wasn't really an athlete, but he's got the mind for football. Put him against that guy. Malik Neighbors will shred him up all day. And actually, yeah, Clark Phillips is a Atlanta Falcon. So, in practice, that'd be one to watch. Anyway, I think Malik Neighbors would excel, especially in this offense, especially if they acquire a quarterback like Kirk Cousins. You could stick with Desmond Ridder. I don't know if the new regime wants to. If they liked what they saw, sure, go for it. Have Desmond Ridder start at quarterback for you. See what sort of things can happen. See if he's your guy. Very low chance that he's the guy, but you see what I'm saying here. Malik Neighbors, to me, just seems like the best, option over any of these pass rushers. Dallas Turner, Verse, and LeU Latu, wherever he is. He's right there. I think Malik Neighbors would be the guy for me in this spot. Rome Odunze, another wide receiver over edge rusher scenario that we're going with here for the Bears, and just for the reason that they did pick Caleb Williams with their first pick, right? So add 2 and 2, and yes, you already have DJ Moore. You're probably losing Darnell Mooney. Who else? They have another guy there that I guess slipping the mind right now. I thought they had a pretty good. Oh, Tyler Scott, I think maybe. I don't know. I'm past my. It's getting closer to my bedtime, actually. Roman Unze gives them a target they don't really have with that size. On the other side of DJ Moore could be nice, and Roman Unze is still a great athlete. I think he'll run pretty good. I don't think he's like a 4.3 sort of athlete. I think that he's still kind of a go deep and catch it type of guy. I don't think he's going to slice you up underneath, turn a slant into some big yardage gain. I don't think he's like that. But Roman Unze offers some upside, offers a lot of talent, offers a big body to put on the other side of DJ Moore to add a little bit of another dimension with your new rookie quarterback, number 1 overall pick, Caleb Williams, at this spot. So we'll have to see kind of what they choose to do here at 9, because I think this could go edge rusher. I think this could go offensive tackle if the cards fall right. If there's an Olu at the spot, if there's a Joe O at this spot, I don't think you'd really consider Toeis Faga. Ramadunze, edge rusher or best receiver remaining versus best edge rusher on the Bears board, I think would be the 2 most likely picks here at number 9. Toeis Faga, a guy that reportedly is really liked in the New York Jets building. Now, could be a smokescreen, could be whatever, but Toeis Faga is really good. He's a mauler in the run game, and I think he's a total anchor in the pass game. I mean, he had a couple of the one-on-ones with LeU Latu, and not only that, I think he actually had a game, Oregon State versus UCLA, and he did a really good job on the plays where LeU Latu struggled at first. If he didn't have that first step, Toeis Faga covered. There was no debating that. Toeis Faga did a nice job blocking him up necessarily when, I wouldn't say LeU Latu locked himself up. It's just kind of when he limited himself off the snap. Toeis Faga did a great job using leverage, power, and just overall like his body mechanics, everything like that, to just keep the guy in front of him, keep that leverage, be an anchor. Like I said, you might struggle against the speed a little bit more. But with the New York Jets here, they need pass pro. They need something on the offense. They need offensive line. They need it. And Toeis Faga is available, and I'm more than happy at number 10 getting a Toeis Faga for the New York Jets. Aaron Rodgers, Breece Hall, and whatever else names you need to have there. Whoever is going to play on the opposite side of Toeis Faga. Maybe it's Mekhi Becton. I don't know. And I don't care. Toeis Faga, a great pick for me at 10. For the New York Jets. Jared Verse, or should I call him Jared Juice? He's got a lot of it. He's nice and powerful. He does a nice bull rush. I'm not gonna lie. When he cuts your body in half, and when I say that, when he gets to your outside, and you really have to rely on that outside half. So if you're right tackle, your right side, if you can just like Jared Verse explodes off the line, gets to your right side, your right arm, the right side of your body, basically, legs included. It's hard to win that. All right, it's hard to gain that leverage back on Jared Verse once he beats you off the snap. He does a great job just pile driving guys back. Got a lot of juice, like I mentioned. He's relentless. He does a good job with the speed to power if he's lining up pretty far out wide. So Jared Verse, a lot of fun to watch, and I think quite close to edge 1, if not edge 1. Especially for me, he's more of my type of player. I like him over a Dallas Turner type guy where you're projecting upside. And then LeU Latu is as polished as it gets in this draft and maybe in the last few drafts. Just looks like a veteran in the NFL with how good he is with his hands. And we'll get to that eventually at some point in this mock. I'm more of like the safer guy. And Jared Verse to me is just a talent. I wouldn't call him a blue chip, but I think he gets close. I think, honestly, I love the player. I love what he does in terms of like getting off the line, and it's not that he doesn't have a plan. It's go for the court, like it's go. Like you see red in his eyes. and I like that. And like I said, a little bit more of my type of player with, and I think he still has upside. We'll get to that with these other edge rushers, and especially Dallas Turner when it comes to upside. There's more to be offered in this class, and it's kind of which way does do the Vikings swing if you're going to go edge here, obviously. So I'm going Jared Verse at 11 for the Vikings. Byron Murphy, this is another reason I was changing it up. Go JJ McCarthy. Like, dude, I don't know where to stand on JJ about now. I think he's going to have to sit for a year or something. It's not that I'm lower on him. I just don't think it's fair to him with the lack of, I wouldn't say control in an offense, but I would say the lack of just overall experience where it's going out being a pass-first offense. And I think that's what Sean Payton would do immediately. They'd be like, okay, JJ, let's go throw 40 times a game and see what we can figure out in your rookie year. If there's enough bad that goes on, you can ruin JJ's career with confidence and all that stuff. So I went Byron Murphy here. Would I change it if I could? Possibly. And who knows where I'll end up by the time that the actual draft comes along. We'll see how these guys test here at the combine, and we'll see where our opinions stand after that. But for me right now, it's Byron Murphy. You need interior defensive line. You need someone to just get to, I guess, they have Zach Allen. He's a pass rusher. He's about 285, 290, so a little bit smaller. And then DJ Jones, who's fine. I think contract might be up. If not, it'll be up at the end of next year if he hasn't already re-signed. For some reason, I think I saw an article or something. But yeah, Byron Murphy, they need interior defensive line help. Byron Murphy's fast, explosive, great athlete, and you'll see it. I'm projecting him to do really well at the combine and taking him 12 overall, and especially taking him over Jon Newton. I haven't done that a whole lot. JJ McCarthy here. I want to go Bo Nix here just because I'd like to stick to my personal board, but I'm not doing that. JJ McCarthy to the Raiders at number 13. I don't think he's an Antonio Pierce type of guy, but he's definitely a loyal guy. We saw how tight-knitted him and Harbaugh was, and so you're going to have a coach that coaches for the players and does what, like, he's for the players, I guess, right, is the best way to say it. So Antonio Pierce, Aiden O'Connell probably already have a pretty good connection, but Aiden O'Connell may never be a top 10 quarterback in this league, if not top 15, right? So Aiden O'Connell might start the season. It's going to be a little preseason or training camp battle that you got going there for QB1 if you draft JJ McCarthy here at 13. Over in Las Vegas, you're going to have some quarterback controversy. You're going to have some early struggles having a guy like Aiden O'Connell and a guy like JJ McCarthy. When I say that, I don't mean it in like a bad way. They're bad quarterbacks and they'll kind of just be mediocre regardless. It's more of Aiden O'Connell, I can't remember what round he was picked in. Late round pick last year, could have been 4th, so maybe even not that bad. A little less experience in the league. He's done it for a season and he's had his ups and downs. Or JJ McCarthy, the rookie that teams like the way he thinks, the intangibles there, whatever the hell people are saying right now about JJ. I don't know. I'm not going to lie. He's probably probably the least amount of tape I've watched on any of the quarterbacks in the top 5, 6 out of Michael Penix, Bo Nix, JJ McCarthy, Daniels, May, and Caleb Williams. Like I said, guys, it's getting close to my bedtime here. JJ McCarthy is probably the one I've watched the least of, and I like what I see from him when I watch him, and it's good, but it's also a little concerning how little he ended up throwing. I think he averaged I think he actually had like 4 games where he went over 230 yards. And when you look at the other quarterbacks' production this last year in college, in this class, you will be surprised. So JJ McCarthy is just kind of little tidbits on him and kind of where I stand right now. I'm all for it. I like JJ McCarthy, but we'll have to see where the teams look at him come draft time. People talking about top 10 picks right now. Someone will even trade up for him. Who knows? Dallas Turner at 14 for me here for the Saints. Now we'll have to see how he tests, because if it's absolutely freakish, like some people are projecting, he might go a lot higher than this. But Dallas Turner for me, someone I want to start off by saying I think he's better in the run than I think a lot of people have given him credit for. I went back and watched a couple more of his games, and in those 2 games, he really popped against the run for me. And it's not that he's like, oh, he's kind of adequate against the pass. So we're going to have to look for something else to watch. Whoa, the run kind of stands out. No, I think he's actually a very good rounded player right now that has the potential to be this, I guess I'd say skyscraper ceiling that can basically do everything. And Dallas Turner, if he hops on that right path, if he learns enough from Cam Jordan, if Cam Jordan's willing to kind of coach him up, if you will, right, Dallas Turner could become a force to be reckoned with. And on the other side of Carl Granderson, who took a step up this last year, Isaiah Foskey would be your nice third swing type of guy that just comes in rotationally. Interior, you can always draft that later in this draft, or bring one in free agency, because they really are struggling there right now. I think they do have the big bodies to stop the run, but maybe not as often or consistent as other players that big, and they don't really get in the pass rush at all. So Dallas Turner, for me, you're lacking on the defensive line, and you're getting older there a little bit. Dallas Turner, welcome to the team at 14. I think it's a great value and very great upside. Quintin Mitchell will end up being the first corner off the board for this, I was going to say, Chris Ballard team. Oh man. Quintin Mitchell. Okay, I'm literally struggling to stay awake. Quintin Mitchell, great, and unlocked press at the Senior Bowl. If you guys don't know, like, press coverage, you're getting close to the guy, and off the line, you're playing press man. And he showed that after not showing that so much in the college year. He goes to the Senior Bowl and does a great job, kind of unlocks that side of him. Quintin Mitchell is my corner one as we speak. It might change. Terion Arnold's pretty high on people's boards, so we'll have to see where I land on him after watching a bit more of that. So Quintin Mitchell, the pick for me at 15. And hopefully you guys agree with this one. I think there's a lot more Terion Arnold believers out there than Quintin Mitchell believers right now. I'm not going to lie. Jackson Powers Johnson just going to help the Seahawks, who lack on the interior of the offensive line. There's been some quarterback sparks flying. Do you go Bo Nix here? Do you go Michael Penix? Do you draft a quarterback to replace Geno Smith? Because this is not the same staff that put Geno Smith in that starting spot. I think he's done a good job, and I think that Jackson Powers Johnson would end up just kind of overruling that decision. I think he's better than any quarterback, or puts you in a better position than drafting a quarterback right now. I'm a really big fan of Bo Nix. Do I want Nix to sit for another year? No. Like, there's certain cards you can play here, but for me, Jackson Powers Johnson, really good in the run, really good just anchoring up against the pass. I think Jackson Powers Johnson, I hate to say it, but he's not the full package. I think that he's a solid package. I don't think he does everything amazing. I think he does a lot of things well. There you can still, I'm sure, poke holes, but greatest or best offensive lineman at the Senior Bowl, I guess interior offensive lineman at the Senior Bowl to be safe there. Toeis Faga gives him a strong running for like overall at the Senior Bowl. So Jackson Powers Johnson at number 16 for the Seahawks. I'm going to start speeding this up. I'm going to fall asleep in my chair. Terion Arnold at number 17 overall to the Jags. Now, Darius Robinson getting a little bit older, might shuffle to the slot. If not, Terion Arnold can play that his first year. But after Tyson Campbell and Darius Robinson, it's not Darius Robinson, is it? That is so wrong. What is his name? Darius something. I don't care. There's another guy on the Jacksonville Jaguars, and Darius is either his first or Darius Williams. And he's getting a little older, not the greatest size on him, so Terion Arnold could either go in and play slot. Well, Williams plays his last year on the outside. Tyson Campbell. Is it Tyson Campbell? How the hell am I a YouTuber that does this for a thing? How is this a thing? Okay, either way. All right. It's a need. Terion Arnold's there. He's going to be picked here for me in this mock draft. That is a hypothetical. He should test pretty well at the combine. We'll have to see on that, though. Terion Arnold, good player, good situation, going to the Jags. Again, a need, and electric player. All right. J.C. Latham at the 18th overall pick, just getting picked inside these top 20s, or the top 20 picks. Going at number 18 to the Bengals, who are slated to lose Jonah Williams at right tackle in this upcoming free agency class. Now you can plug that hole there with J.C. Latham, get a mountain of a man, and oh my god, I was super impressed watching him. Did a really, really nice job. He moves really well for as big as he is. I've seen him listed at 335. I've seen him listed at 360. So weight's gonna vary. I'm very excited to see what he looks like at the combine. What weight wise, like measurements wise, I don't really know. We'll have to see what like his shuttles and stuff are. But Latham at 18 is a very nice, solid plug in and play. Protect Joe Burrow, keep him up on 2 feet, and solidify one of those tackle spots this late down the board. I think it's just the way that the board has fallen. That's the way the board. Either way, J.C. Latham, the pick at 18. Oh my God, sorry for such a terrible video. LeU Latu at number 19, keeping the UCLA, or I guess keeping the LA in UCLA. I don't know. Keeping LeU Latu in Los Angeles. He's a good edge rusher, and like I mentioned, he's as polished as anyone in this draft. He's got good quickness off the line. Now, he does have a tendency of like getting into a guy's chest, and then he really struggles to get out of that against, like I mentioned, a Toeis Faga, where you're trapped, but you're not leaving. So LeU Latu, little something there, but LeU Latu is so good. Getting outside technician, game plan, the rush moves, the deep arsenal of rush moves in specific when you're talking about the plethora of moves you can see going against LeU Latu. So LeU Latu, toolsy player at number 19 to improve on the defensive line, on the other side of Byron Young, on the outside of Kobe Turner and Aaron Donald, depending on how much longer Aaron Donald's playing. I don't know, but LeU Latu at 19, the pick for me pretty easily to the Rams. Nate Wiggins going at number 20, and just a guy with good intangibles. He looks like a good athlete on tape. We'll see if it translates, obviously, at the combine, and it's a need for the Steelers. No doubt their back end's been struggling. I don't think that they are as good as their players' names are, I should say. Pat Pete slid back, played some safety a little bit at the end of the season when they were a little bit lackluster there, opening up another hole on the back end of that defense in the cornerback spot where it was actually vacated by Pat Pete. When I say that's Patrick Peterson, by the way, one of the better corners of this the last decade or so. I mean, he's been playing longer than a decade. I can almost guarantee that. Either way, off subject again. Wiggins, height, weight, speed type of guy. He's got some fluid movement, I would say, and he's good turning his hips and getting downfield with the guys. So Nate Wiggins, I think, could be the best corner in this class when all said and done. And yeah, I wouldn't bet on it, but I think it can be. Like, I think it could be a thing. It might happen. You never know. But I'm just saying, it's in the ballpark, so that's a good thing. And we're taking top 20, so he better be in that ballpark. Troy Fautanu off the board at number 21 to the Dolphins, and I think people aren't giving him enough credit at tackle. He's a very good tackle, and he's slated to move inside to guard, and that is where he would probably play right away for the Dolphins, assuming Terion Armstead's healthy. But we've seen the reliability of Terion Armstead not be so good. So, okay, pull Terion Armstead, get someone else behind Troy Fautanu at left guard, right guard, whatever he ends up playing. He might even play center. I doubt it, though. And then move Troy Fautanu out to left tackle, because I think he could do it. He's pretty good on an island, and there are times where he just straight up, like, he doesn't miss, but it's not the best. It's not that great to watch. It's a little like, ooh. But yeah, Troy Fautanu does a good job. He's very talented, very light on his feet. Does, like I mentioned, pretty good and solid power-wise against, edge rushers on the outside on an island. Fautanu, to me, I'm not going to say he looks like a guy worthy of being picked inside like the top 15, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him 17, 16. I wouldn't struggle to see the possibility of being picked within these two picks. The poor Eagles can't get away from Cooper DeJean, the player we're taking here, the Iowa corner. I say Iowa because it's just how you say it, by the way. If you didn't know how to say the Iowa, then you know how to now. It's a little corny, but whatever. Cooper DeJean, good athlete, natural-born athlete. Like, he's just good at every sport he touches, turns whatever sport he touches into gold, I guess. That's the old saying I'm using for Cooper DeJean. Either way, he's a defensive back. I think that he's just a secondary player. I wouldn't lock him down to corner or nickel or safety. He can play them all, and I think that he could do it at a very good level. I think Cooper DeJean is not like my favorite in this draft because obviously, I mean, he's down here at 22. Well, Nate Wiggins, Arnold, Mitchell are all off the board before him. But I do like the versatility. The Eagles, I just couldn't pass on him, and I think this is the third time in a row I've had a Cooper DeJean to the Eagles in a mock. So enjoy it while it's happening right now, I guess. And Eagles fans, while you're getting Cooper DeJean here at 22, but he might end up jumping in my rankings as he has an overall consensus. I don't think that he's a consensus cornerback 4 or 5. I think that people are actually much higher on him. So I might get to that point at some point, especially with a good performance at the Combine. So like I said, Eagles fans, enjoy it. I know a lot of you guys don't actually like this pick, but I don't know why. Argue with me down in the comments when I actually am awake and ready to answer some questions. Brian Thomas Jr., now a guy I said is a way better player than being picked at 23, but is what it is. We're going with 23 overall for the Houston Texans. We're going Brian Thomas. All right, you don't know why? He's a damn good player. He gets downfield so quick, long strider, fluid mover, great blocker. He's a all-around package. I think that there's this I wouldn't say preconceived, but I'd say that the how do you say it? The person that hears about Brian Thomas from a guy that heard it from a guy, the thing is, yeah, he's a vertical threat. He's got deep speed. He can get downfield. That's not his whole game. I don't think he's as one-dimensional as people paint him out to be. I think he's a lot better than that. And I think Brian Thomas is an all-around good receiver. And I do think he actually stacks closer to the Rome Odunze tier than people would like to think. I think he's a little bit closer. I think he's he'll probably end up being a top 20 player for me in this draft, if not top 15. I really like Brian Thomas, and I come away really impressed with him and the way he plays football. Go Brian Thomas Jr. out of LSU. Make a name for yourself. Do the Amon-Ra St. Brown. Just write down a few guys' names. Obviously, Amon-Ra had to write down a lot of other names and read it every night before he goes to sleep or something like that. As a Packers fan, not big on Amon-Ra St. Brown. Kind of hate him a little bit. I have a personal grudge against him. So Brian Thomas Jr., I don't think he's as bad or as one-dimensional as the public is saying he is, I guess, is the way I'd try to push that message. Marius Mims will be the 24th overall pick in this make-believe mock draft, and someone I think has very high upside, and that's the only reason he's getting picked here in the top 25 picks of this draft. Because when you actually look at the injury concern and sample size, something that's not nearly talked about enough for Marius Mims, when he touches the field, he's amazing. And he shows all the flashes in the world. He shows exactly what you want. He has amazing size at 6'7", 6'6". We'll see what he actually comes in at. Around 340 plus, maybe. The play of Marius Mims and what could be from Marius Mims are two very different things. What Marius Mims could be is it's up, all right, and I'll just give you that because I don't know what to relatively compare it to or anything like that. And Marius Mims' play is still actually pretty good, but the injuries and the availability of Marius Mims have been the problem. So Marius Mims, someone I'd be really I wouldn't be concerned. I'd be really paying attention to how his NFL career goes because he's someone I could see being really, really good in a short amount of time. Or someone that can just kind of struggle, but he's great when he's on the field. Or someone that just can't see the field enough, where he never really gets the development or experience he needs. Either or, Marius Mims, a lot of different ways his career can go, but the prospect is great. Marius Mims, that's why he's getting picked. I mean, such high upside. I don't think people can quite say they know. I don't think I even know what the experts, the draft analysts that have been doing it for 20 years think about Marius Mims. I just kind of know that's a big guy. He can do a lot of great things, and I know that's pretty good. Packers going Grah Barton at 25. Now, this is good for me because I've talked about this plenty of times. Whenever I pick for the Green Bay Packers, I always bring up the dynamic we saw this past year. Youngest team in the NFL, putting pieces together, getting better as the year goes on. It seems like people were really starting to click. It looked like there was some more of that compatibility. It looked like there was a little bit more of that on page or on the same page, that consistent growth to the team. I don't want to F with that. I don't want to mess with that. I don't want to mess with anything that has to do with major communications. We're coming in, or pause. We are getting a very good player, and he's going to be a focal point. I don't want to switch anything like that. So we're going to get Grah Barton. We're going to put him in either John Runyon's place or Josh Myers' place at center or left guard, maybe right guard where Runyon plays. I think it's left. We're going to put him there, and he's going to excel. He's a nasty player. I love the way this guy can pave the way. He understands leverage and does a good job with his arms and engaging a little early. I like Grah Barton and what could be, and I think, again, I'm not messing with the dynamic and the way that offense runs at Green Bay or in Green Bay with some major switch up here, even if I'm going Troy Franklin, which I wouldn't. But if I were to look and be like, okay, Ladd McConkey, all right, that has to be the guy that goes every third down, all right? We're going to try to, just make him the main guy. It'd just be kind of tough to do that. So I'm going to go Grah Barton here. And for the same reason I've given the last few mock drafts for the Packers, I just don't want to mess with too much, and I want to get a player that solidifies something that can still be improved on the team, and that is the offensive line, in my opinion, especially the interior of that offensive line. We've had some pretty good tackle play out of Rasheed Walker, David Bakhtiari when he's healthy, which isn't much anymore. Zach Tom is there as well, Yosh Nijman, whatever. He's all right when he plays, but I think he's playing actually more interior nowadays than he is outside. So we do like our versatile lineman, and Grah Barton's another one of those guys. Koolaid McCoy at 26. I do like the player to team fit, someone that just kind of knows what you're doing. Press coverage is good. You've lacked some good play or consistent play in Jamel Dean, Carlton Davis. So you're going to bring in Koolaid McCoy, who's got a lot of, and I actually missed this, a lot of physicality. I like the way that Koolaid McCoy can kind of work against an offense, against some blockers, against whatever. I think he's better physically than people give him credit for. There's a lot of this smart guy talk. He knows what he's doing. He looks calm, set, poised. I'm not saying those aren't true. I'm saying something that isn't talked about for him enough is his physicality, and the way that he plays football is a lot more chaotic and energetic than I thought when you just hear about him. So I look at Koolaid McCoy. I think that he's a good player and could possibly be picked over some of these guys like Nate Wiggins, who might be seen as a little bit more of a project, or if you see a safe team that's really trying to just win now, I wouldn't be surprised to see the jump for Koolaid McCoy here for the Eagles or for the Dolphins if they want corner, if that's in their cards, whatever. You guys see what I'm saying. Jon Newton, the ball of energy that he is, and the acceleration off the line for Jon is huge. He does a particularly nice job getting side to side in one-on-ones. That guy seems very hard to just lock in place as a 290-plus pound man. I couldn't imagine just dealing with Jon Newton one-on-one. That's a nightmare. He wins a lot of his one-on-ones very consistently. Energetic player. Again, another guy that kind of just... I once watched a play. I think it's in the highlight reel or in the reel you guys are seeing, the cut-up, where he's going like rambunctious. He's going boom, 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 and kind of just going in between the guard or the center and the guard, and then he wiggles free eventually and just powers through the little gap he has, the little space he gets, and takes full advantage of it. So Jon Newton, very fun player, very interesting what he weighs in at. We'll see what he comes in at if it's 290. And Byron Murphy measures closer to 300. I can definitely see them flipping as defensive tackle 1 and 2. And obviously there's a pretty big gap here at 27 to 12 between the two. So I'm kind of projecting Byron to have a great combine and weigh in well. And I'm projecting Jon Newton to maybe lack a little bit of size in this little mock here. Troy Franklin, a.k.a. Troy Field Stretcher, at number 28. For the Buffalo Bills, something that they're going to be missing is Gabe Davis. I think that he's pretty much set to hit free agency, which isn't scary, but I think he was really an unsung hero of that offense, someone that kind of just made the gears turn. He was a really good player. I think he actually once got a game ball. He didn't have a catch, and that kind of just shows on tape what football dudes know. These guys can play major roles without touching the ball. There is a lot involved for a receiver, and something I think Marvin Harrison does super well is just be mindful of his whole offense. I think that Troy Franklin doesn't really have that same presence. I don't think that you can really replace Gabe Davis with anyone at the spot. So Gabe Davis is going to be missed, but you're adding a guy like Troy Franklin, vertical threat galore. This guy can either shred the seam up, whatever it is. Troy Franklin's got speed. He's got some versatility, not versatility. What am I saying? Troy Franklin's good. I don't think you can look past that. I think that you're probably going to miss a little bit of what Gabe Davis does, and maybe you see another like guy step up or whatever it is. Hopefully my guy Justin Shorter, who I like, I doubt he'll be a role player in this offense. Maybe a nice 4th or 5th receiver, but other than that, no really role's going to be paved out for him. Franklin, 28, good pick, good player, good team, and you're looking to just add a talent on that team, and you're doing nothing less than that at 28, drafting Troy Franklin if you're the Bills. Ennis Rakestraw Jr., the cornerback out of Mizzou, going to the Lions. Now, I don't think he will end up being picked this or end up being ranked that high by me or picked this high in the NFL draft, but right now what I'm hearing is his injuries aren't a big deal, but I've seen him as kind of a big deal in my own eyes, so we'll have to see where or if I hear more about it as time goes on. But Rakestraw has struggled with some injuries in the past, and not saying it's like, okay, it's just major injury after major injury. It's mostly like, okay, he had a torn ACL, I think he had a shoulder thing lingering over the years, so something with Rakestraw, and he actually ended up missing the Senior Bowl with injury, by the way. Something with Rakestraw I'm curious to see is, one, the medicals and the interviews and stuff like that with Rakestraw, because I want to see what has to be said. I don't hear a lot of the experts talking about the downside about Ennis Rakestraw right now. I'm hearing a lot of like, well, he's an energetic vocal leader, totally just an absolute like player. He's a dog. He's a football player, and he's out there. He's pretty good in run defense. So I mean, Ennis Rakestraw fits the Detroit Lions, I guess. So good for him, and he's getting picked at 29. Tyler Guyton for the Baltimore Ravens, and why are you picking tackle for them? It's wide receiver or corner for him here, always, no matter what. Brad Spielberger, the wizard of the free agency, or caps, whatever. He's really good, and watched an interview, I think, PFF Brad. He does a lot of the salary or the free agency stuff over at PFF, and he said if there's one position to team lock, I'm going to say it's offensive tackle to the Baltimore Ravens. I'm doing that in every mock draft. I'm doing it with all the free agents that are available, and when you actually look at it, I can see why. So Tyler Guyton for me at 30, someone that could develop into a really good player. He's got that want and the will to be good. I think Tyler Guyton's going to be a solid player in in just his rookie year, but what he can be sculpted into, I'm not going to say it's a Marius Mims-esque. I think it's actually a little less than what we saw with the Marius Mims and the intangibles and whatnot, but Tyler Guyton moves so well for a man of his size, and I think could end up being a great player in the league. And yes, Ronnie Stanley's a thing, but he's getting a little bit older and he's a little injury prone himself. So when he's not in, Tyler Guyton can take those snaps. Well, Tyler Guyton's a right tackle, so never mind. I lied. Either or. I mean, TJ Tampa. Someone I just like calling Tej. I don't know why. It just pops into my head. I seriously couldn't give you a reason. I've never called anyone Tej before, so it just happened. Either way, TJ Tampa, the cornerback out of Iowa State. He's got true size. I think he actually plays what is it called? Like 5-eye or something like that, where you play out wide and he actually rushes the quarterback. So TJ Tampa, an athlete, and he plays well on a defense. I think he attacks the run a little bit better. He's physically imposing. I like the size of this guy, the fire he kind of plays with. He does a lot of underneath stuff. He doesn't really like trail and press man. He doesn't man coverage down the field. A lot of it is kind of underneath stuff. If it is not zoned, then it's, he's manned up on someone, and he's really good at just like jamming a guy or just using his size and physicality, the leverage he has with such a I think he should come in around 200. He looks the part in 6'1", 6'2". He's got size, and I think he's got some of the intangibles. And Kyle Shanahan and the rest of that coaching staff, I think, could do a good job shaping a guy like TJ Tampa and using him as a chess piece on that defense, using him in multiple different ways, and get him schemed up to do a few different things. It confuse the defense or confuse the offense or something like that. So TJ Tampa at 31, pretty reasonable. Adonai Mitchell, we're gonna pretend we just took him. But it's Adonai Mitchell, the last pick to the Kansas City Chiefs. He's a good player. I think he's actually very fluid for his size. He'll probably come in about 6'3", 6'4". I'd be surprised to see if it's any less than that. I think that he's got some pretty good hands. He looks natural at the position. I'd have to go back to my notes to get to get deeper than that and kind of dig on what I didn't like and what I did like. But Adonai Mitchell, he's back up the rankings here on PFF. I wouldn't want to go Ladd McConkey here. I think it just kind of interferes with anything you have got going with right now with Rashee Rice. So I'm going to do Adonai Mitchell at the spot because I've also done Keon Coleman too much recently. So you know what I'm saying. Either way, Adonai Mitchell's the pick here. Again, fluid, and I think he's just a true outside guy. He's not your Marquez Valdez-Scantling replacement. He's not quite that explosive, the same player. I think he can end up actually becoming your wide receiver 1 or 2, depending on how Rashee Rice is used. But in the typical sense of wide receiver 1, I think Adonai Mitchell can achieve that in just his first year with the Kansas City Chiefs in a not-so-deep wide receiving room. All right, there you guys go. That is the mock draft to kind of end it up here, to however you say it, to wrap it up. I need to go to bed. Well, first I need to edit this video. Oh, God. Either way, this is a good day, good night, whatever. I'll see you guys next time. If you guys enjoyed, give me a like and unsubscribe. Go watch that past content on the channel. And that'll be all for me once again. And see you guys next time. Deuces.